So, welcome everyone. Good to see you. Now, do you have any questions? Anything that you brought along that's important for you, that you would like to discuss? What is it that brings you here? There must be something that you're seeking. More being and less doing. Is there any question concerning this?
I'm very new at this.
Then give me one thing that's important for you.
Where to start?
Where to start? Probably a good point to start is by becoming aware of your actions, what you do every day, or what you do every moment. And just simply noticing, if I do this, what is the result? If I do that, what is the result? Traditionally, we can speak of three so-called gates or three doors through which actions can leave you. First one being the body, second one being speech, and third one being your mind, your thoughts. So inner actions, if you will. So we have body, speech, and mind. And by becoming aware of, if I do this with my body, if I do this with my speech, that is the result. And we want to look at the results and our actions in terms of whether they are creating suffering or happiness. And then gradually you become a bit more refined in seeing what it is that you're doing to yourself and how it serves you or not. That's a perfect starting point. As you become more refined, you can let go of increasingly more subtle things that you're doing that actually give you stress, that keep you tense in your being. And as you discover those things, then you can let them go. As I say always, suffering is not so much something that happens to you, it is something that you do. And suffering also, many people think of this word as being something very extreme. I don't think so. Suffering is not something that is necessarily only the extreme stuff. It can be just a tiny kind of sense of this is not enough, I am not enough. And therefore I must kind of get somewhere, become something. That is a doing, actually. This is an action that we perform unconsciously, kind of striving to become someone or something that we're not, because we're not at ease with the way it is. We're in conflict with truth. That's a very subtle example of suffering. Or the sense of self that we have. It's another very subtle fabrication. It is something that we are creating every moment. A sense of self. It almost looks like, that's nothing that I do, it is what I am. It is something that is essential to who I am, but it is not, it is a doing. We all learn who we are, or who we are supposed to be throughout our life. We're not born with all these informations. So as we grow up, they become increasingly more complex. And so our searching, the searching mind, what we're doing with our mind, is equally complex. It looks for a whole lot of things. How should I be? What should I become? Am I okay the way I am? How can I feel finally that I'm okay with the way I am? All this is based on suffering. It's suffering in action. So suffering is not a happening, it is a doing. That's why I say you start off with becoming aware of your various doings. And then we start with the most coarse things, the most unrefined stuff. Like forget the sense of self or emptiness or silence or all these kind of these very high level states, but think of, how do I get out of my bed in the morning? What are the first few things that I do? Could that be in some way maybe optimized so that I would start my day in a better way, so that I suffer less just in the morning? You know, so many people have these habits, right? You turn off the alarm clock and there's an immediate frown on your face. It's like, that is a doing right there, this sound that you make when the alarm goes off. Now the question is, does that doing serve you? Could you let it go? Would you let it go? When? Start there. It surprises me always how many people think of this really high level stuff when all their coarse, gross, everyday actions are still so unrefined. And we already think of, non-self and impermanence and everything is space-like and empty or something like that. But the basic stuff, we still suffer the basic stuff. And that requires a great deal of honesty, right? You need to kind of be willing to look at what you do and to take responsibility and see, wow, what I'm doing is not at all that skillful. Because we all like to believe what I'm doing is quite good. I'm living my life, I'm quite clever, I'm doing well, you know. But actually, if you were really to look, to take a good look, imagine that, okay? I've just read that recently and I found it to be really like a genius kind of idea. Imagine every day of your life there would be somebody invisible that is just right next to you recording you with a camera, like a video camera, an invisible video camera. Follows you in every step, whatever you do, it records you. So you get to see all your physical actions that you do throughout every day of your life. Some of us, when we look at old pictures of ourselves, we already cringe, right? It's like, oh my God, you know, did I wear that? How did I look like when I was 20? Oh my goodness, you know. And I thought that was cool. It wasn't actually. It didn't look cool at all. Now seeing it from a distance, having some distance, I can see wow, that was so pretentious. But I can only say that now because I have that distance. So that camera always has that distance, and so it's following you at every step of your day, throughout your entire life. But that's not it. The camera also records every single one of your thoughts. Whatever you're saying to yourself in your own head, the whole day long. Would that be a piece of art? Like if you look at that at the end of your life, would you feel like, wow, I'm impressed? I would rather be like, ooh, that's kind of a bit shocking, you know. It's inconvenient. And it requires that kind of honesty. The camera has that honesty. It simply looks at what you do. It simply looks at what you think. That's all. And to see just that clearly is very powerful. There's a funny experiment that you can do, like if you agree with your partner on this, It's like a little game that you can play. Like the next time either one of you is angry, film them while they're angry. Or imagine you are filmed while you are angry. What would happen to your anger in that moment? Like, wouldn't it make you feel like even more awkward, because you would now be confronted with having lost it, and it's like documented, like me losing it is being documented. This is super uncomfortable. Now imagine this is the effect that mindfulness has on you. When you're truly mindful, when you're really aware of what you're doing, then that's the effect. You start to become really conscious, self-conscious. Wow, what am I doing here? Yeah. And of course, in the beginning, you're still super critical. So you need to kind of drop that. You want to look at yourself, just looking, seeing cause and result. Like, for example, if you sit in the car and you're waiting for someone and you're complaining about, I don't know, world politics or something. And you sit there in the car complaining to yourself about world politics. Doing that for 5 minutes. After those 5 minutes, what's your overall state like? How do you feel? How does your body feel? Is there more or less tension in your body? Do you feel more or less healthy? And what kind of impact will that have on all those you meet after those 5 minutes? This is very basic stuff, isn't it? And it's practical. I always like to deal with these practical things. Like, what am I doing right now? And just watching that. When I was sick, when I was still in the monastery, and I was sick, we had this habit of when any one of us got sick, then somebody would bring the food up to them. We wouldn't eat together in the dining hall then, because everyone would just immediately get sick. So you'd stay in your room and your teacher would bring you food or something. So my teacher brought me food up in the room, and he constantly gave me these kind of little funny exercises. And one of them was like, because I remember I got the first iPod when it came out. It was the very first iPod. And we used it in the monastery with this kind of, it had this, you could buy this extra microphone that you could clip on top of it. And I would use that to record the teachings of my teacher. And my teacher kind of made jokes about this, and he came into my room and said, since you have this microphone, why don't you sit down for 10 minutes and record your thoughts? Every single thought that comes to your mind, record it. Just sit down there, and whatever comes into your mind, you speak it out loud. Try it. What do you think will happen? It gives you a very honest kind of perspective on yourself, on your mind. What kind of state is your mind in? Also, like, it's 10 minutes of you. Normally that goes unwatched, and it goes the whole day long. Now it goes on for watched. 10 minutes of unfiltered experience of your mind. And you want it to be unfiltered. That's good. No filters. Just truth. That's the state my mind is in. Okay. This is how it is. Now, could you do something to kind of improve it a little bit? Make it at least a little bit better? What's the content of your mind about mostly? Throughout the day, which percentage goes to what kind of topic? What kind of fields of interest? So if you observe yourself like this, you'll find kind of like there's these top topics that you have, that they kind of keep revolving all the time, round and round. It's always the same thing every day, day in and day out. So some of the topics you will notice they are harmful. Probably most of those topics are actually harmful. They steer the mind up. They don't let it rest. So basically by steering your mind up, the result of that is you lose energy to hot air. It's like nothing. And you just lose energy to it. Complaining, feeling like a victim, all these kind of things. It takes your energy. Blaming, comparing yourself to others, all that. It eats away your energy for nothing. By the end of the day, you've just spent energy on nothing. Lots of unimportant things. Could you improve that? Would you improve it? When? If not now. So how could I optimize my thinking? You start on the basic levels and just optimizing your thoughts a little bit. Make them better. Then look at how you talk throughout your day. What kind of topics are you talking about? How do you talk with your friends? When you meet them, how do you listen to their talking? What's your mindfulness of human conversation like? The more aware you become, the more you notice it's like, wow, I spent a lot of time just chattering away about nothing. And then with that same breath I would also say, oh gosh, I hate small talk. There's a whole lot of hypocrisy, and you will find it out. It's like I am being hypocritical. I am the one that's hypocritical, and that's quite a shock. Like if someone were to film you and see you, you would find that out at the end of your life. It's like, damn, I was complaining so much about other people, and I was the problem actually. All along. I was the one that made life a bit less comfortable in this world. Through my complaining, through my miserable thoughts and so forth. And I did not let them go. Why not? Why would I not let them go? Why would I not change them into something a bit more uplifting? Could you be more grateful? Have a few more grateful thoughts. Could you make yourself feel a little bit better through what you think? And maybe others around you. Just uplifting yourself. Encouraging yourself maybe. Like instead of, I just can't do that, and again I failed again. Maybe you can think, well, I'm sure I can do that. There must be some way that I can do that. And I'm sure that I can figure out a way. If other people could figure out a way, why can't I? Right? That's a bit more hopeful. So, noticing how you talk, how you act, and how you think throughout the day, it's a very good start. To see what the result is of that day after day. In other words, what are you getting better at? What you do every day, in your mind, with your words, and your body, it's what you're getting better at. If you start every morning with stretching, you'll get better at stretching. It'll become more flexible over time. There is no other way. You'll become more flexible, right? If every day you start by thinking about the things you're grateful for, you get better at that. You get better at gratitude. And with that, you will feel more thankful, more happy about the things you have, rather than getting up and complaining about things you don't have. Right? Like in your relationship, if you focus on the things that you appreciate about the other person, what will that do to your relationship? It's like tiny little changes, but they have a big impact if you do them long term. You will train to become a person that is truly admirable, because you just can. You can turn yourself into a being that is a blessing to walk this earth. So everybody will remember you when you're gone. To remember you as an honest person, somebody that stood up for quality, for good skills, somebody that had integrity, somebody that was harmonious, balanced, well-aligned, noble in conduct, inspiring, whatever it is. You could be such a person. And all it takes is to consistently align yourself with the actions of such people. So in a way, I think the most important thing for all of us is to have some sort of idol. Somebody that you would like to emulate, that you would want to become like. That's, by the way, one of the reasons why the Buddha, the Buddhists would put Buddha images or Buddha statues into their houses, like you find here, right? Why would I do that? It reminds me of what I aspire. I want to become like that. I want to embody those same kind of qualities. And every time I see that, I'm reminded of that. It's like somebody putting up, I don't know, a poster of Sylvester Stallone because they want to develop a six-pack. I don't know. Something like that. And every time they see the poster of Sylvester Stallone, they feel inspired to go to the gym and do the work it takes to get there. It's the same thing. If you have an idol, you have something to live up to. Something maybe to compare yourself against. See, I'm here, this is there, I want to become like that. No stress. It's a joyful effort. It inspires a joyful effort. It is not designed to make you feel inferior or bad. Like you're looking at the poster and you feel like, I don't have six-packs like Sylvester Stallone, and that's all that it does. No, it motivates you to do what it takes to get the six-packs of Sylvester Stallone. Or whatever it is that you aspire. Many people put up pictures of that and surround themselves with that. Another point, and probably the most important point, is the community, the people that you surround yourself with. If you want to learn meditation, there's nothing better you can do than surrounding yourself with people who are good at meditation practice. This will lift you like nothing else. So coming to groups like this, for example. If you can't come to any groups, there's a lot of people that I got to know, they say like, where I live there is no such thing. I don't have any access to a group like this. So then at least, there are online groups. There's people who kind of hold each other accountable for their practice and so forth. So that is already good. Watching teachings, reading books about the subject matter. Like digging into this whole complex of meditation practice fully, surrounding yourself with it. The Buddha said about this that the community of people who practice is the entire path. It is 100% of the path. It's not half of it, it's all of it. Like who you are, who you surround yourself with. If you surround yourself with people that all kind of think meditation is weird, you will not keep up a meditation practice for long. It's impossible odds. But if you surround yourself frequently with people who aspire the same goal, you will get better. In fact, people who come for years to these classes, you're one of them. And your development is absolutely visible over the years. So this is a result of sticking to it. So this is what helps us, right? Our friends on the path, they help us. Yeah, this is what I would recommend for the beginning. Just really become aware of your actions, to summarize that, to have something to aspire to, and to surround yourself with people who embody what you aspire to, or who do the work and who are on the same path, who aspire the same thing. That will guarantee that you're getting better on this path. The qualities of mind are definitely honesty, consistency, and showing up all the time, again and again. And people usually only do that when they have suffered enough. When they're kind of like, it's enough, I need to do something. I need to get out of this. Make sense? Good. All right. Well, I think we're good for today. And thank you very much for coming.